Hi, my name is Lindsey Stevens, and I'm a candidate for the Educational Master's Program with Amar University. You will see me interview 4 staff members from my junior high that I currently work at. The first staff member you will see me interview is Miss Leslie Barnett. She is a 7th grade social studies teacher, and this is her first year as a teacher. The second candidate you will see me interview is Dr. David Paz, who is the head principal at our campus. The third person you will see me interview is Miss Allison Travis. She's the social studies instructional coach for our campus. And the final person you will see me interview is Mrs. Jessica Hale. She's the assistant principal over student support at our campus. The description of the video I will be completing today is an interview with various staff members at my campus about the climate and the culture of our campus, and about keeping and maintaining a high level of campus culture and climate. During today's video, you will see me interview 4 different levels of staff members at my campus. My goal is to understand how these different staff members view our campus culture and how our administration moves the campus towards the campus vision that has been created by the campus site making committee. I will be asking the following questions. How does the campus recognize and celebrate those who implement strategies in support of the campus vision? This question is really getting at the root of how does the administration support those who are following the vision that they have set forward? And how do they motivate teachers to want to do what is not easy to do, which is following the campus vision? The second question you will see me ask today is, how are these contributions and achievements effectively communicated to the staff, students, and community? Communication in a school is extremely important, and so it's going to be interesting for me to see the different points of view that the administration team, the instructional coach and curriculum team, and the teachers have on how well communication is on our campus and how effective it is at moving people towards our campus vision. The third question you will see me ask today: how does the campus use innovative thinking as a learning experience to promote the campus vision? It is extremely important to be able to take risks, and so I'm interested to see, how does a teacher view this versus an administrator? And how does the administration effectively convince teachers to take risks? And how do we also reflect after we've taken those risks and go back to the data and analyze, was it effective? And is it pushing us towards our campus vision? The final question that you will hear me ask today is, how does the campus vision impact morale? Okay. Hi, I'm Lindsey Stevens, and I'm interviewing Leslie Barnett, a 7th grade social studies teacher, for my participating video interview. Okay. How does the campus acknowledge, recognize, and celebrate those who implement strategies in support of the campus vision?
There are several ways that we are recognized or acknowledged. When we have faculty meetings every 3rd Wednesday, we have a Gator of the Week. Sometimes we have Gator of the Year, and sometimes we have Gator of the Month. The Gator of the Month team is usually a PLC team, where it's a planning team that's worked together to do something either very innovative or a team that just works together really well to make sure everything that gets done, that needs to get done. And then sometimes they will actually just choose a PLC team to recognize. Like last time they recognized our coaches because they did so well with getting the Teacher of the Year nominations into the computers for us. And then they also will recognize teachers that have come out to support campus at sporting activities or at competitions with jeans passes and that kind of stuff, where we get to wear jeans on any day that we want.
Awesome. Okay. How are these contributions and achievements effectively communicated to the staff, students, and community?
Usually every week we have a week at a glance that goes out from our admin team, and it is the stuff that we're doing throughout the week, but it's also people that have done well.
Okay. How are these contributions and achievements effectively communicated to the staff, students, and community?
Usually every week we have a week at a glance that goes out from our admin team. It tells us what we're doing on campus. It tells us the things like if we've got STAR, it tells us all kinds of that kind of stuff. But it also usually says, this is our Gator of the week. This is our person that we're looking at. This person's done super well. This was a really cool assignment. Here's a picture of it. Or if like home ec's making cookies or something for the teachers, they'll tell us that, which is always a good email to get. Mm-hmm. And then we'll have things that go out at faculty meetings. There's usually some kind of handout. And then at grade level meetings as well, there will be something there for you so that you know that you've gotten everything that you need. And then they use our mailboxes at school to leave us little notes of, hey, we saw this, it was really cool, or we're so happy that you're here, or just really good supportive things. Small notes to let you know you're on the right track.
Yeah, I've gotten some of those from student council. They're awesome.
They're amazing.
Okay, how does the campus use innovative thinking, risk-taking, or even failures as a learning experience to promote the campus vision?
We have a lot of young teachers on campus, which means they've just come out of college, and they have all these bright, amazing, wonderful ideas, because as our teachers are getting younger, we're, especially at this school, we have a fairly young staff, which means that we've come up with the technology that now we're using with our kids, so we can do more with it.
And so there you're talking about actually hiring
younger teachers. They send us to seminars and workshops so that we get cutting edge, like stuff that's been made up in the last year, activities, strategies, ways to get the kids immersed in the content. And we also at this campus have a really great thing where if you come up with an idea and you present it to your PLC team, if it looks like it would work, they let you try it. And if it doesn't work, then we've learned from it. But if it does work, it goes out through your IC to the other campuses they work with. It goes out through the entire district, basically, or it goes out through your school to make sure that, hey, this is a good way to get kids vocab. This is a good way to get them studying for a test. And then if we're all using it across 3 grade levels, we've given them a skill as a 6th grader that they can use for the next 2 years to be successful.
Awesome. Okay. What processes are used in improving morale, which moves the campus toward the realization of the campus vision?
So in a classroom, I think when students are safe and comfortable, they succeed better, and they strive to make sure that their teachers here feel the same way. If we have a concern, there's always an open door we can go to. If they see something really good, they'll reward us with a jeans pass. They will put us up on the school Twitter with the hashtag made us proud. They're really vocal about how we're doing, which instead of making us wonder, am I on the right track? Am I doing this? You know where you stand. And then our students at the same time, we actually have the ability to recognize our students. Like there's a 100 club for the student that always does well, that's always doing really, really good things. But there's also a thing for STAR students who are not necessarily high achieving, but they are kids that aim high and want to improve and want to get better. And they have that with the teachers as well. If they come in for an observation and they notice something, they'll talk to you about it. And when they come back the next time, if it's been fixed, they'll tell you. You know, you'll get some jeans passes. They'll say, we're so proud of you, which is really nice because then...
Yeah, and that honest feedback, I feel like is key. Like if you didn't fix it, they're going to be honest.
They're going to tell you, yeah. Mm-hmm. But having that ability to know where you stand as a new teacher is a really, really great thing. And I'm sure as any teacher it's great, but it just lets you know where you are.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I am Lindsey Stevens, and I'm here interviewing the principal of the junior high that I'm at, Dr. Paz. Okay, so how does the campus acknowledge, recognize, and celebrate those who implement strategies in support of the campus vision?
Okay, a lot of things we do with like acknowledging strategies. A lot has to do with the autonomy that we give in PLCs. If you are creative, if you are taking risks, you're going to have more control over the planning as far as what you're doing each week. So I think that's one of our biggest things, is just allowing teachers to be teachers. Mm-hmm. If we know, because we have our APs, whoever's in charge of the department, mm-hmm. they're in the PLCs. You got the instructional coaches. If we see that the teachers are putting students first, then they're going to be able to take risks. They're going to be able to pretty much paint whatever canvas they want as far as the curriculum, because we know that taking risks is what's going to drive the success of the students.
Awesome. Okay, and how are these contributions and achievements communicated to the staff, students, and community?
Let's see. Going back, I think a lot of it, what we do, like when we do Team of the Month, Gator of the Week, when we even did with Teacher of the Year, having students in the community have a voice as far as recognizing good teaching and being able to, send out a Google Doc survey so that anybody can explain why they feel a teacher is Teacher of the Year. And to get, like, for example, this year to have over 1,100 nominations from students, parents, and community, it says a lot. Mm-hmm. Let's see. And I think it's just ongoing. To me, it's the little things. I know later on I'll talk more about the kind of like our thank you jeans passes, mm-hmm. for example, but it's all those little things of the Gator of the Week. To me, is something we did new this year, and it's something little, but to be able to recognize a teacher for the things they're doing, to be able to talk about Team of the Month or the Gator of the Month at the faculty meetings and explain why. To me, it's just communicating and advertising all the good stuff that we're doing and all the great things that the teachers are doing in the classrooms.
How does, I'm throwing you a curveball question here, how does technology fit into that? Especially because I know that this campus is very pro-technology, mm-hmm. so how does that fit into this particular question?
It really is, with technology, it kind of goes with that first question where if you're putting kids first and you're doing technology to supplement the curriculum, mm-hmm. then by all means, carte blanche, do what you want to do. And not be worried about if it's not successful. And I think going back with this, it all has to do with how things are approached with, I'm actually about to answer number 3, but, we'll talk about number 3 and then I can
let's talk about number 3. Okay, so how does the campus use innovative thinking, risk-taking, or failures as a learning experience to promote the campus vision?
So this one to me is on the tail end when we do data meetings. Mm-hmm. We do data meetings and let's say we haven't gotten the outcome that we wanted. If you go with what haven't you been able to do, you're going to curtail any type of risk taking. It's not about that. It's if you take a risk, mm-hmm. if you tried something with technology and it didn't go the way you wanted it to. So you're looking at 2 things. One, was it because it's new? So should you try it again? 2, or it wasn't something that really, when you think about it, it sounds like a good idea. When you put it into action, mm-hmm. it might not have, and that's okay. Then you know ahead of time, okay, well, we'll never do that one again. And it goes into that whole community of trust. So when we're in the data meetings, just talking about strengths, talking about how we can, how can we improve without focusing on why it failed per se, or what somebody did wrong.
Right.
You get that trust, you have that confidence to keep going. But going back with that, you can't have those conversations unless you have teachers that you have 100% confidence are doing what's best for kids. If you have teachers that are doing what's easier, so let me give an example. If you're dusting off your worksheets and they're not, and the kids aren't successful, and you see that in the data, then you're going to have a different conversation, because rather than trying to be creative, rather than trying to figure out a student-centered activity, you've done what's easiest, and that's a worksheet. So the conversation is going to be different.
Right.
What we're so lucky about here is we really don't have that. You know, we really across the board with the teams, they're all trying to try different things.
Yeah.
And so it goes into what I talked about at a faculty meeting, that now I'm in this position where I need to look out for the teachers because they're looking out for the students.
Right.
And so trying to figure out how to make the teachers' lives easier, because that will give them the opportunity and the energy to do what's best for the kids. So it's a great problem to have when you're a principal.
Yes, it is, I'm sure. Not all principals get to say that.
No.
Okay, so lastly, what processes are you using in improving morale, which moves the campus toward the realization of the campus vision?
So my biggest thing, I think, is the jeans passes, which we try to dub the thank you passes. We still haven't gotten to calling it that across the board, but it is, to me, being able to have a token of gratitude that's purely based on effort. It's effort, and it is it's all student-centered. So when you're giving teachers a little kudos and a little thank you for attending sporting events or fine arts performances, when they're out in the halls, you know, monitoring the halls and greeting kids at the door, when they're, you know, implementing champs, when they're, you know, doing everything that is student focused, and you're able to thank them for that. To me, it's worth it. Is it a pain? Yes.
Hi, I am Lindsey Stevens, and I am here interviewing Allison Travis, our social studies instructional coach. Okay, you ready?
Yes.
All right. So how does the campus acknowledge, recognize, and celebrate those who implement strategies in support of the campus vision?
Well, I think we do a lot of things. We have Gator of the Week, which is a teacher that has done something to really help out the campus, or been paying exceptional in their classroom. So we take a photo of them with actually a gator. And then from our Gator of the Week, which we have 4 of those, every month there is a Gator of the Month. That is, oh wait, that's the next question. Okay. Also, we do Teacher of the Year. So usually the staff gets development and the students as well to get a well-rounded winner. And then also our principal likes to hand out jeans passes for anything that he sees worthy.
Okay, so staff and students vote?
For the Teacher of the Year. And they also have to write an essay explaining their philosophy.
And then you said jeans passes. Like what type of things would usually a jeans pass be for?
For instance, some of our social studies teachers have to present on a collaborative STAR day. So they attend professional development, and then they brought back those strategies for the rest of our department. So those teachers receive a jeans pass. He also does things like attending volleyball games to where students can see you outside of school hours. He likes to give jeans passes for that as well.
Awesome. Okay, how are these contributions and achievements effectively communicated to the staff, students, and the community?
I would say mainly via email, just because that's a form of communication that most of us use these days. Along with email, our principal likes to send out a weekly glance every week to let you know what's happening, what's going to happen, and some things that can be celebrated from the previous week. Also, the Gator of the Week that we talked about earlier is sit down with the picture of the Gator.
In what ways does technology, I know that this isn't on the list, but what ways does technology play in that? Because I know that...
Technology as well, I know our school does Twitter.
Yeah.
So a lot of tweeting. And then we also do, maybe we just use Twitter.
I think it's Instagram.
Okay, I just not on Instagram, so that's why I don't know that.
Okay. And is that like for the community or for the
Right,
staff?
anybody can see that.
Okay.
It's open to the public. And our district does it as well. And social studies department, throughout the district. So many hashtags.
Yes. How does the campus use innovative thinking, risk-taking, or failures as a learning experience to promote the campus vision?
Well, I think we would with this is our teachers and our ICs and APs, any administration, when we hold our staff meetings every month, we model those strategies, which sometimes it works great. There's sometimes that we do have failures during those presentations. Hopefully not as many times as we do the successes. But I think as a staff, modeling what we want to see in the classroom during those staff meetings, we're trying to, the majority of the time, is answering that question. Which I would ask.
Okay, and then what processes are used to improve morale, which moves the campus toward the realization of the campus vision?
Okay, once again, I think this would go back to our staff meetings. Something simple that we do is we always try to provide food. Whether it's PTA bringing it in or the actual campus will provide it, like a nacho bar, something like that, just to give the teachers a little bit of a pick me up in the afternoon for showing up. Another thing we do is occasionally throughout the year we do something fun, kind of like to build that climate, to build that culture in your school.
Like
So
a game.
play a game like we did where we had a circle of chairs and a teacher had to run in the middle if they had this attribute, or if they went to the school, or whatever it might be. But it was a fun way to learn who your other staff members are. I think that sometimes you don't get to know everybody outside of your department. And it was just kind of a 30-minute get to know you and break up the monotony of staff meetings. Also, in the beginning of the year, we've done things like a scavenger hunt before, actually in the community. So it was a great chance for staff to bond for the school year, but also to get out and see where our students are coming from.
Not always the best idea in Texas.
It's so hot.
I heard last year like super cool.
Yeah, but
But it's still fun.
we enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I thought it was good.
Awesome.
All right, thank you.
Okay, I'm here with Jessica Hale, Assistant Principal, May Creek Junior High, and we are doing our participating video interview for option number 1. Okay? Okay. Ms. Hale, how does the campus acknowledge, recognize, and celebrate those who implement strategies in support of the campus vision?
We acknowledge staff members who follow the campus vision by doing multiple things. For some things are little as jeans passes, which is kind of an incentive for teachers if they are, let's say, in the hallway supporting our PBIS initiative, where teachers are out engaging with students in the hallway. Myself or other APs will come by and we will hand out jeans passes. Going to students' games, we also hand out jean passes. Things that, minor things like that, we use the jean passes for. We also, for teachers who do, let's say, Gator Camp, they participate in the after-school tutorial program. We not only do they see that reflection on their evaluation, they also will see, they get to wear jeans that day. Little things like that, teachers have told us that mean a lot to them. Just that they can be comfortable because they have to be here for extra hours, but they also do see it in their evaluation in this part. And that rubric is given to the teachers ahead of time so that they know what the expectations are. We do Gator of the Week. We get feedback from other staff members about, staff that they see are doing great things, and then we take that feedback and we acknowledge one faculty member within our campus, and they get a certificate and they get a Gator, and then that can then lead into the Gator of the Month, and the Gator of the Month gets a gift card of worth about $25, and they get recognized in front of the entire staff.
And so how do you go about getting that feedback from the staff?
There's
just like
a
an
faculty. There's a faculty recognition committee that we started at the beginning of the year, and so sometimes I get it from them, and then sometimes I'll just get it from, like, during the week of testing. A lot of teachers had said, one of the teachers, the testing coordinator, was very, very helpful, and so I had multiple emails from just random teachers, and so that's why I took that into consideration with everything else that I saw, because I'm also a part of the faculty recognition committee, and he was given the Gator.
And how do you guys go about getting like rewards, like gift cards and stuff like that? Is that donations? Do you have to go out and recruit that?
A lot of times it's donated, and then sometimes we have to go out and ask for things. Like for Teacher Appreciation Week, we go out and ask for things at the end of the year when we have our faculty meeting and we have like a drawing. We have to go out and ask different companies and fill out forms to receive the gifts. Then also, and then you'll also have your first Teacher of the Year. You'll have your Teacher of the Year. And then also just emails that, you know, when I notice my team is doing a great job, like I like to send an occasional email. I probably don't do it as often as I should, but just, hey, you know, thanks for PLC today. Everyone was in attendance. And when we did our collaboration, I gave everyone a jeans pass, and one of the teachers went above and beyond, made a PowerPoint, so she even got more, you know what I mean? So I try to show them that I value their feedback and their participation.
What about technology? Like, I know that Twitter has been a big push for Dr. Pause. How do you feel like that kind of reflects our
so we
acknowledgement as well?
We do recognize staff on Twitter. We post on Instagram for the students, Twitter for the teachers usually, and then Facebook, you know, if you do it on Instagram, you can hit all three social medias.
Perfect. Okay, how are these contributions and achievements effectively communicated to the staff, students, and the community?
So to the community, it would be through e-news. And that is really the way that we get out information is online. Then also, you know, when sometimes every now and then we have the, you know, like 6th grade curriculum night or whatnot, we celebrate the successes there. Or when we have the back to school where we invite parents, we talk about things that, you know, have done positive. The CAT team, I think that's also another way that we communicate to the community about what we're doing and the successes that we're having at our campus.
Would you say that the, what is it called? The organization for parents or whatever?
PTA?
Yes, that would be part of that, right?
Yes, there's a principal moment at the end of PTA, and the principal, I'm not a part of it this year, I was last year, but the principal that's over PTA does talk about the positive contributions, the things that are going on in the campus.
Okay.
Teachers.
And what about to the students?
To the students, we always try to recognize people, the staff, where the students are. So in their classroom, through announcements, so that the students can be excited for their teachers. And I think that's also, you know, exciting for the staff as well, because that's why we're here. It's for the kids.
Absolutely. And what about the staff?
The staff, we do Twitter, we do emails. You know, every Gator of the Week is emailed out. We put it on Twitter.
With pictures.
We then have the faculty meeting, and then like grade level meetings today. We're gonna announce our first year teacher of the year. So,
Awesome.
So we have a lot of fun things going on.
Okay. How does the campus use innovative thinking, risk-taking, or failures as a learning experience to promote the campus vision?
I think that whenever we think of ideas that start with, let's say, the administrative team or the leadership team, I feel like a lot of ideas start in those two groups. And we try something, we take it to the staff, and if it doesn't work, then we come back to it and we look at what do we need to change. I can say that Gator Camp, which was at the beginning, was Gator Academy, and so we've changed that every single year because you know, we had this great idea, we're going to provide this time for students, and then we realized it was kind of like babysitting, and that wasn't effective. So then we went to, okay, let's be more specific with the students that we pick, and then now we've even gone into more of, okay, well, what lessons are we going to actually teach? And so I think it's just along the ways you make, you know, tweaks as needed. And then sometimes I think that you have to totally get rid of things, you know, and
I'm not being afraid to know that you're failed and that's not going to work.
And I think right now, you know, we're in the process of, even at grade level meeting, talking and getting feedback about homework hall, and not saying that we're getting rid of it, but getting feedback of how we can show and make sure that the students are, because part of it is that we want them to be held accountable for not turning in their homework. And so also having a document where teachers can see that, you know, the progression of how we're holding them accountable, so that they can see that it is being done, but then also that they understand, you know, if a student is already being held for homework hall, they are going to have to pick another day. So things like that you know, are complicated. When a kid doesn't turn in homework assignments for 3 teachers, it gets to be really complicated. So we're tweaking things as we go, always.
Okay. And then lastly, what processes are used in improving morale?
which moves the campus toward realization of the campus vision?
I think the most powerful thing this year I can speak about is when Dr. Paz at the beginning of the year showed, in the faculty meeting at the beginning, showed, before we even got started, the stars that we received, the growth that we had from previous years. And I think when teachers see the data, when they're able to actually see the results and see the growth, that's when they say, okay, everything I'm doing, all of this effort is worth it. And I think that's the most powerful, is when you actually can see it, not just be told, but when you can actually see the data and the improvements. That's the most powerful thing. Let me look and think. Also, just having, at the beginning of the year, we had that speaker come out and talk about being vulnerable. I think that motivates you for a while, and then usually I feel like videos or motivational speakers kind of get you focused and centered on an area, and then sometimes after a while though that motivation kind of goes away, or you get stressed out, and then but I think that those things do help along the way.
Pretty much, I agree with everything that we've talked about. Kind of accumulates into this one question, I feel like.
Right, and then like you said, recognizing, making sure that you recognize and that you're consistent. We don't really. We only, teachers only get, let's say, a memo, which is something negative, if they are neglectful. So we will always email, we will always have a conversation first. We will always, we will always give the benefit of the doubt, but then if whatever continues, then that's when the memo comes. So I think also being consistent in a sense makes staff feel that they're valued and that they're not putting in all of the work and other people get away with other things. I think trying to be as consistent as possible is the best way to go. And because if you give somebody an opportunity to maybe not be on time or whatnot, and not, it just ends up, if it's a consistent thing of them being late or whatever, then other people are like, well, why do I have to be here on time? Or they have favorites, so that is a really hard balance, because you are still a human and you want to understand, and to some level, you have to take some things into consideration, but overall you have to be consistent, and that helps, I think, also with the morale of people understanding that it's not just picking one person or favorites.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, so I have completed my 4 interviews with the various staff members on my campus, and it was really eye-opening to me. I think that the biggest surprise about the interviews was how vastly different the answers were, from the administrator, the head administrator, Dr. Paz, all the way down to a teacher. And what was really interesting to me is that I got to see these questions through each of their eyes, and each of them had very different outlooks on how the campus climate is and how it works and how it should operate. So that was very interesting to me. The first question that I asked was, how does the campus acknowledge, recognize, and celebrate those who implement strategies in support of the campus vision? And I got a lot of different answers, but then some of them were very much the same. One thing that they all mentioned, that all my interviews mentioned, was Jeans passes. They noted that Jeans passes were a small token of gratitude, but that they really meant a lot to the teachers. And that if the administration was consistent with it and used it for minor things, that it really boosted morale and really made a huge impact on our campus. For example, even something as small as, thanks for letting me stop in your room today, and having that Jeans pass in your box. Another example is, I covered our retest academy for a teacher who was absent, who normally does it, and the administration put a Jeans pass in my box. Now, obviously that's not something that I did to get Jeans pass, but it does promote the campus culture. And so in these interviews, I really got to see how something so small, when it's consistent and it actually is helpful for the teachers, it means a lot, and it really does motivate teachers and make them feel rewarded. Furthermore, Dr. Paz talked about how our Jeans passes take on another level when we have multiple ways that we can use them. So you can turn in a Jeans pass for an actual day to wear jeans, or you can collect them and turn them in for different things like coverage during your advisory class. and other various items like that. Maybe the administration going and picking up lunch and bringing it to you. And so those little things, the attention to detail, really does mean a lot to the teachers. Another thing that all of my interviewees mentioned was Gator of the Week and Gator of the Month, and then Teacher of the Year. We get a lot of input from the faculty and community on these things. For example, we have a committee there that does pick the Gator of the Week every week, and teachers, staff, students, community can nominate the Gator of the Week through the use of a Google Doc, which we send out via email. The Gator of the Week is meaningful, and the administration team noted that one thing that they did differently this year that really has taken it to another level is doing everything in front of the students. So when a teacher receives Gator of the Week, 3 administrators and another teacher come into their room during class. They interrupt class. They have a Gator. They have a really nice certificate for the teacher, and they present that in front of the students. They also take a picture of it and put it on Twitter. And so these are some of the things that I collected from my interviews that are pretty inexpensive and that really can boost campus morale as long as you remain consistent with it. I think that Jessica Hale noted that consistency is extremely important when it comes to improving campus vision and campus morale. The second question that I asked during my interviews was, how are these contributions and achievements effectively communicated to the staff, students, and community? You know, here each person really had a different answer for me. The teacher, Miss Leslie Barnett, she mentioned that we do what's called a week at a glance. So it is an expectation at our campus that teachers send out a week at a glance to their parents. So for example, if I teach 8th grade social studies, I would send out every Monday a week at a glance what we're doing. And to model that behavior, our administration staff, specifically Dr. Paz, our lead principal, began doing this for the whole community and for the teachers. So we receive a week at a glance from him every week. So that's one way that we communicate. And on there are celebrations, important events coming up, reminders, various things like that. So that is one example. Another thing that was mentioned is communication through email, communication through Twitter, really using technology. Our campus is very technology friendly. In order to communicate with the community, we send out what's called an e-news blast, and that is our main point of contact with the parents. We also do curriculum nights once or twice a year where the parents are invited up to school, and we have a representative from each different grade level and each different department, and the parents really get to ask questions about what's going on and really get to see what's going on with our school and our curriculum. We also have data meetings. Every month we're on a meeting rotation. So the first Wednesday of the month we have leadership meetings. The leadership team meets. That's the campus site-based decision-making team. The second Wednesday we have department meetings. The third Wednesday we have grade level meetings. And then the fourth Wednesday we have whole campus faculty meetings. And so that is another way that we split up our communication with our staff. In that way, at the department meetings, the staff feel like they actually have something to contribute, and it's a smaller environment so that they can feel more comfortable to maybe give some feedback to the administration about what's been going on. And that's it on question number 2. So the third question that I asked during my interviews was one of my favorites. How does the campus use innovative thinking, risk-taking, or failures as a learning experience to promote the campus vision? And the reason that this question is my favorite is because I feel that it's the most important. I don't feel that change can occur without risk-taking and innovation. And risk-taking cannot occur if you don't feel comfortable in your environment and if you don't feel supported. And so this is one of my favorite questions that I asked. So on the principal, on the administration point of view of this question, Dr. Paz really brought forward some things that I had never thought of before that were really interesting to me. One of the things that he mentioned was starting with the data meetings, making sure that teachers know how to read the data and if they need training on that to do that. Starting the beginning of the year, reflecting on last year's data and showing that the changes that were made last year did make an impact and did improve the campus. And also showing the teachers that the administration is reflecting on the data. And so therefore they should be reflecting on the data. The second thing is avoiding putting teachers down. You know, Dr. Paz mentioned in his interview that teachers are going to make mistakes and they're going to take risks that don't always work out. And that needs to be okay. And that needs to be acceptable. As long as it's not occurring more often than not. And as long as it's in the best interest of students. And I felt like that part was really key that he said there. Always beginning with what's best for kids, focusing lessons on student-centered learning. When those type of risks are taken, that is when we see that it's okay for failure to occur because we did what was in the best interest of kids. Ms. Hale really mentioned something that was interesting to me as well, and she said that a lot of the ideas begin with the leadership team, and the leadership team will look at the CBI, Campus Improvement Plan, the CIP, and they will also look at the budget and the data from previous years, and also the demographics of the campus, and they will make the decisions that they feel are the most important. And then those get transferred or communicated to the staff. And from that, the staff stems all of their goals. So for example, in the social studies department, one of our goals is ESL intervention. Well, that goal began with the administration, and they're the ones who pulled the data from the STAR assessment, made the goal, and then social studies tapered that goal to fit what we needed and what we felt like we needed to focus on as a department. And that's also where we get our professional development from, and using that innovative thinking to help teachers build goals, support them, allow them to take risks, allow them to fail if need be, and really promoting that campus vision of success and student-centered learning. Another thing that Ms. Hale mentioned was reflecting and tweaking. When something doesn't work, for example, homework hall, that's something that our campus has been working on for many years. And so when it doesn't work, we reflect on it. We go to our teachers and say, what's going on? What do you feel would work? Is it plausible? What are some holes that we have? And then we go back to the leadership, the site-based committee decision-making team. And we look at those feedbacks and ask ourselves, what's really going on here and what do we need to change? Is it working? Is it not working? And how can we fix it? And I felt like that was really important as well. You know, what was interesting to me was Allison Travis, the instructional coach, and seeing her point of view, because she had a totally different point of view on this question. And what she had to offer was interesting to me as well. She mentioned modeling, which I feel is so important as an administration team that you're doing for your teachers all the time. Modeling strategies, modeling student-centered strategies when you're doing meetings. For example, starting a meeting with an icebreaker. And when you're doing professional development, professional trainings and professional development, making sure that the strategies you want the teachers to be using, the administration is using as well. For example, this year on our campus, we're using CHAMPS in our classroom. Well, the administration team is modeling that. They use CHAMPS in the cafeteria. They've also created CHAMPS in the hallways, and we take students out and walk them through the CHAMPS process, and we do practice academies. And so they model what they expect us to see. And I thought that that was really interesting addition there was her point of view on that. So the final question that I asked during my interviews was, what processes are used in improving morale which moves the campus toward the realization of the campus vision? And morale is really a hot topic right now in education. You know, there's lots of different points of view about how to keep and retain good teachers. And Leslie said something about this, the teacher that I interviewed. Leslie said something about this that was really interesting to me. She said, hire young and enthusiastic teachers. And I feel like that's so important. I feel like at our campus, we have some teachers who are really great. And the hiring process is essential in keeping, getting, and retaining really great teachers. And also, your campus has a reputation. And I feel like that's also super important to keep as well, because teachers are going to talk. And you're going to get good teachers if you have a good reputation in the community. So one of the things that they talked about in morale was jeans passes as a thank you for doing what you need to do. Twitter, using Twitter to give shout outs to teachers and to brag on teachers. Making the small things that you do so important. And Ms. Hale mentioned, or Dr. Paz mentioned, it can be tedious, but it's very, very important. Bringing in speakers, bringing in videos. Ms. Hale mentioned these things. Remaining consistent, sending an email and having a conversation, and having positive conversations early on, so that when you do have to have a hard conversation, or if you do have to have a difficult conversation about a teacher's work ethic or something like that, you've already had the positive conversations with them. You've already built the relationship. Just getting to know your staff is super important. Enforcing rules and expectations. Ms. Hale mentioned this, and it really struck home with me. Being consistent with enforcing rules. You know, if you're late, you're late. And yes, there are always exceptions to the rule, but if you make an exception for majority of the staff and not for others, that's going to cause the campus morale to really decrease. Whereas if you're remaining consistent with everyone, even though they may not like it or they may not like the rule, they will respect you because you have been consistent. And it will not create an environment of jealousy and tension, which is extremely, extremely important. Another thing that Alice and Travis mentioned was having food at meetings for teachers. Games, icebreakers, really getting to know the staff. You know, our campus works really hard to do things like that, like providing breakfast for teachers every couple of months, even if it's teacher initiated, even if it's us bringing breakfast for other teachers. If we only have to do it one time, like the social studies and science department does a breakfast, that's going to boost morale, and they only have to do that one time. And so things like that, doing scavenger hunts, being in the classrooms, being seen in the hallways, just supporting your teachers in every way, shape, and style possible is going to improve morale. And mostly, bragging on your teachers, pointing out what they're doing right and bragging on them, and letting the students do it as well. So during this process, during this field activity, I really got to experience a lot, and I really got to learn a lot about how to improve campus morale and campus climate. Some things that went well. I scheduled these meetings in advance, and so I was really proud of myself for that, and I think that went really well. Also, the questions that I posed were really thoughtful and really thought-provoking. And so I think that those were the things that went really well for me. I don't think that I have anything that I would change. Nothing that I would change. Some surprising information. The thing that was the most surprising to me was the fact that all 4 of my interviewees had such different perspectives. And that was based on what they do at our campus. And so I think that what I will take from this and how it will transform my practice as a school administrator is that I know that campus culture is a very diverse issue. And there are a lot of different points of view that you have to take as an administrator when you are looking at how to improve campus culture. What works for some people may not work for all people. And different people at different levels have various points of view about what the campus morale should look like. But at the end of the day, I think what's most important is that everybody's on the same page. Expectations are set, expectations are enforced, and those who go above and beyond are complimented, are rewarded, and are celebrated. And that anybody who is doing anything that is student-centered and that is best for students is always rewarded, whether that and always supported, whether that idea is successful or not successful. As long as they're doing what's best for students, that is what's going to build that campus climate and support the type of campus that I want to have in the future.